it's just that, people's roofs are gone. They're going to want that replaced. They're not going to want to do their driveway or a patio or, whatever. I was like, that's it. We're done. It's over. And then,
Right. Oh.
and then, soon after, I think like the next night, I think I was taking a shower in the dark and I got a text from a lady that we worked for in the past. She was just texting us that she needed a repair. Her screen cage got ripped off and she needed us to put the pavers back.
Welcome to the Landscape Cafe, brought to you with support from Fort Myers Garden Service, maintaining and protecting business and residential landscapes. Visit fortmyersgardenservice.com or call 239-990-7494.
Are you 100% owner, or are you 50% with you and 50% with your dad, or how does that work?
So it's kind of changed over time. When we first started, it was, I think we started at 70 him, 30 me. Because I was just kind of helping him out, I didn't even think I was going to do for the long haul. I was just kind of helping him get started, and then eventually he would just take over the whole thing. And I was in school at the time, so once I graduated, I figured I would either do grad school or do a job. And I was a psychology major. I figured I would do counseling or something. I don't know. And then as it's evolved and I've gotten more involved myself, it shifted to 50-50. And then more recently, we haven't discussed it lately, but when my brother joined on, we asked him if he was serious about it or if he just wanted to work for us. He was serious about it. He put a truck in himself. So he bought a truck, put it into the business himself. So he's got some equity in it. And he's got a stake in it too now. So it's just shifted over time based on our responsibilities. And that's
cool.
So it is now. I don't know exactly what percentages they are, but it's still, my dad brings in the most experience. He's out there doing the most work, on sites. He's quality control in a sense, make sure everything is well and bringing in the materials and everything. Gustavo's out doing the estimates, sending them out. And I do all the back end work now. It's very rare that I'll be on the job site, but we all kind of have our tasks to do every day, and separating it and being specialized in each of those tasks so far has helped us out pretty well. But yeah, so that three of us are kind of tackling it all.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure that all three of you guys are very busy. That's for sure, keeping everything going.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. So tell me a little bit, so what happened, where were you when the hurricane hit with you and your family? And then also tell me a little bit about post-hurricane with your company, what happened right after the hurricane and what's going on now. Has there been any complications and stuff like that?
Yeah. So with most things weather related, I don't really take it into consideration. Just because, especially during the rainy season, we know it's going to rain. If I didn't plan jobs on days that it rained, then we wouldn't work for most of the year. So I schedule out as if we're going to have perfect weather, and if we get delayed, we get delayed. And I explain that to people too. I'll call them. I'll say, on the schedule on Friday this week, that'll probably be delayed. I don't know by how much. We'll see how the days go up from, let's say I'm calling them on Monday. From Monday to Friday, we'll see how these days go up. And then the other thing is we could be in Naples and it's raining in Fort Myers. So it's just impossible to predict. So I try to stick to the schedule. So when the hurricane hit, we knew it was coming, but we thought it was going to hit further north. So again, I didn't think about, I assumed there was a possibility of it hitting us, but I didn't plan for it to hit us. So I was just scheduling jobs as they were coming. And so we actually had a job that we were going to do on Sanibel. We had the trailer with the pavers, sand. It was ready to just connect and go to Sanibel on the day that the hurricane hit. And then yeah. So the hurricane hit, and obviously Sanibel got hit really hard, and that didn't end up getting done. And I don't know to what extent that property was damaged, but speaking to the homeowner, yeah, I mean, she couldn't get it done. It had her house now needs a lot of repairs, and the pavers are not, something that she's necessarily like interested anymore. I mean, she may do it eventually, but that's, when your roof is gone, you need to replace your roof. You're not worried about a patio. So
right.
So that was kind of my concern in the next few days as I'm sitting, without electricity. And I'm just thinking, kind of internally freaking out a little bit. It's it's just that people's roofs are gone. They're gonna want that replaced. They're not gonna want to do their driveway or a patio or whatever. I was like, that's it. We're done. It's over. And then,
right. Oh.
and then, soon after, I mean, I think like the next night, I think I was taking a shower in the dark, and I got a text from a lady that we worked for in the past. And she was just texting us that she needed a repair. Her screen cage got ripped off, and she needed us to put the pavers back. And just like that, like the shift happened in my brain. And I was like, oh, there's like paver repairs to do. And
yes,
probably the next like month or so, the only calls we got were all about repairs. And it's still, the majority of the calls, but people are back to worrying about their driveways and patios and everything. So it was just that slight, mental hurdle that I didn't think I was gonna get, but I definitely, I really did get worried. I was concerned that we weren't gonna. I was thinking like, we've got trailers, we've got a bobcat, maybe we can start hauling off debris. Like we can stay busy, right, which is maybe not be doing pavers, but that's not the case. People were calling us. That we took a week off to make sure everybody had, their houses in order. If they needed cleanup, we went and helped them out, or repairs, whatever to be done. We just gave everybody a week to just fix everything, and we did. But I was getting calls all that week from our customers like, hey, are our pavers still okay? Are we still on? I think I'm sure things changed. Give me an update on the schedule, stuff like that. And as soon as we hit that week, we haven't stopped since. It's been nonstop installing, repairs, everything. We still get calls from insurance companies like, hey, you guys sent this estimate. Can you explain it a little bit better for us? We go on, we do the job, we send them the invoices, they send them to insurance company. It's all worked out very well so far. Haven't had any issues. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it obviously, tragic and everything. I still going to Fort Myers Beach. I've only gone twice now, but it still looks crazy. And
it's nuts.
Yeah. So it's still, it's still hard to see sometimes, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and I'm just happy to be part of the rebuilding process.
Absolutely, for sure. That's one thing that you mentioned that I want to touch base on is in a business owner's world, our minds are constantly racing. There's so much on every single day, whether an employee brings up something that needs to be dealt with right away or very soon. Insurance payments are
new
due.
Tires.
Yes, or a new alternator.
Yes.
There is rents due. I mean, there are so many things to balance each and every day. And even when you think you got it all, everything's under control, then you get an email, oh, your Sunbiz is ready for renewal. So you go on there and do that. I mean, it's just there's so much going on, and the battle to stay sharp and fresh and non-exhausted can be really challenging.
Yes.
Something that I've noticed because sometimes I'll do design within our company. So like I'll be doing a landscape design. We have designers also, but sometimes I love to jump in and be a part of that process as well for our clients. And I am when I am relaxed, when I am refreshed, and I am at my most calm, my creativity is phenomenal. My optimism about business is great. I'm in fantastic shape. But there are sometimes that there's ruts, whether it's days, hours, could be weeks or months, that we get in ruts sometimes. And man, it can be hard to get out of that. And so it sounds like that's one example that you had, that little bit of kind of a stressor, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? There are a lot of different weights, pressures, and stress that I don't think most people know that business owners have to go through. I mean, it is sometimes can be psychological war to just to get through a week sometimes. But that's not to say that, sometimes it's a beautiful thing. We get to take a full week off, and, our team is still working, so we don't have to. So essentially we can take a paid week off. Like sometimes that can happen. It does happen, and that's great. But there's a lot that goes on in the mind of a business owner. I have conversations all the time with my wife. Last night it happened. I was bummed. We're at dinner. We're on a date, and I was quiet for about 5 minutes. I didn't notice it because I was wrapped up in work thought. She said, "Bailey, what are you thinking about?" every time she says that line, it's because I'm thinking about work, and I've kind of dozed off on my mind. And there's a lot of stuff that we bring home, and it can be challenging to kind of flip that switch, is what Katie and I call it. It can be challenging to flip that switch and turn the business off. And it can weigh down ourselves and our marriages and our home life a lot too. And that's something that I try to encourage all business owners to always work on and be aware of it. Sometimes you got to work until 9 a.m., 12 a.m. at night. You got to work all the way through, but making that a rare occurrence is important. And even just shutting the mind off is so important. How have you learned to balance that work and personal life with being a business owner?
It's been hard. My biggest concern has always been to keep our guys working, because at the end of the week, they want a solid paycheck. They don't want to Monday off because I wasn't ready because I took the weekend off. They want to make sure that we want to make sure that they've got work Monday through Saturday. They want it. So that's always my concern. That's always in the back of my mind, is making sure we've got enough work. Now, to escape that, though, my newest thing, and it's newish, I guess, for the past 3 years now, is having a carrot at the end of the stick. It's having something to look forward to, where you're grinding for a period of time and it gets exhausting and you're exhausted, but then you've got this thing at the end of that, and it's going to be great. And for me and my fiance now, it's been just planning trips. And so we plan trips a couple a year, and they're not big trips. It's just weekend trips. We've gone to Georgia, Colorado, and a bunch of other places that it's just for the weekend. It's just to get away, visit these new places, and it's pretty cool, and it's a lot of fun and everything. And then we come back after that weekend, and you reset. And like you said, you feel refreshed, and you go through the grind, and then in a few months, we'll do it over again. And it's having that carrot at the end of the stick, where you're just working towards a goal. And the business is the big picture, but then you narrow it down to that goal where you're working and you're hitting everything along the way. And once you get there, it's relax time again. And then you do it over again. That's been my thing lately, and it's been really cool. It's been really good.
That's cool. That's awesome. I'm glad that's working. That's awesome. I think I encourage everybody to find whatever works for them and really stick to it, because man, it's so hard to keep everything healthy, man, because there's a lot at home that we have to manage, and especially now
when
with
it's
the kid, I'm
family business.
learning that more.
Yeah. When it's a family business,
Right.
if I'm like hanging out with my parents or, you know, having a family thing, work comes up just inevitably because that's what we do, you know? And so I have to be reminded sometimes to like, hey, we're hanging out. We don't have to talk about work.
Right.
It's hard to keep it separate from your personal life, but it's so important. And then two, like not just like the bigger picture too, but even smaller, like day to day, having starting and stop times have been really important. You know, because I like you're saying, sometimes you're gonna have those hard nights and you're gonna have to work till late, and that's fine when you have to. But on your day to day, it also could be hard to just like you've got 5 more emails you can answer and you can take another hour, but it's stop time now, and you know it's important that at a certain time you switch it off. You're not at work anymore, and you go and do. You know, I gotta walk the dogs, or I gotta make dinner and have, you know, maybe we're gonna watch a movie or something. It's just that transition needs to happen. You gotta stop taking calls. I used to take calls at like 8 p.m. I'd answer, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't think you were gonna pick up. I was gonna leave a voicemail."
Right.
I should have just let it go to voicemail. That he'll pick up calls like on Sunday, like at 8 p.m. Like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, dude, you gotta just let it go to voicemail. It's not important right now. We'll get them in the morning. There's no like maybe for other people there may be, I don't know, maybe you could tell if it's important for you, but like there's no emergency that involves Pavers. Like no one.
Right. Exactly.
You know, there's nothing. It's not like your pipe burst and you need a plumber right away. It's if your Pavers are sticking up or they're sinking, it can wait till tomorrow. You know, it's not. So I at some point I guess I just realized like, yeah, I don't have to do it like this. So yeah, I have a start time, I have an end time, and then depending on who calls, you know, I might pick up, but usually once I'm done with work, I'm done with work, and you know, I'll pick it back up in the morning.
That's awesome. That's super important, and I think that's something that one of my mentors taught me is really important. Is like setting expectations for customers, and so. And that's one thing that I was doing too, you know, picking up the phone. Oh, new customer, you know, especially when I was starting out. New customer or existing customer, got to make sure they're super happy. You know, of course, you want all your customers to be extremely happy, but there's boundaries. And, you know, I'd pick up the phone Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, like you're saying, or Sunday night, 8 o'clock, whatever, just to answer it. And being able to set boundaries for our clients are huge. And one of the ways I do that is through my voicemail. I say, hey, thank you for supporting. This is Bailey with Pure Landscaping. Thank you for supporting a small family business. I return calls once a day after 5 p.m. or the following morning. And so I let them know, hey, like these are my expectations. You know, we are a small business. Thank you for supporting us. We're not a corporate company that has after-hour phone servicing and is going to pick up your call or anything. And so that's one of the ways that I do that. And also for my reoccurring clients that we have, if I pick up the phone call Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, they're going to expect me to answer it next time.
Oh, yeah.
And so by not answering it, letting it go to voicemail, calling it back first thing in the morning, that also sets expectations as well, just like you're saying that you do. And and my mentor taught me that, and I was like, okay, I like that. That is good because healthy boundaries for them, healthy boundaries for us. Everybody wins all around. So that's super, super important. Definitely some good learning lessons in that aspect. So how did you guys get started? You said your dad was, you guys were 70-30 and he was going to take it off. You were going to go to school. How did you guys say, hey, we're going to open a paver company. Let's do this thing?
Yeah, well, he was already in the industry for a long time, working for other people. He'd done a lot of other things in the past, but this one he had been doing for a while. And I think it just kind of came up because I was kind of getting tired of my job. I was selling TVs at Best Buy, and and not making a whole lot of money. And I'm like, how am I going to pay for grad school if I don't have any money? And then,
Right.
and he was kind of tired of his boss and tired of the way he was doing it, and figured he could do it better. So we were just talking one day, and he was like, why don't you help me out? You'll make more money, and we'll get this started. And that was always the plan, was you'll go to grad school and I'll keep it going. We'll hire more people and we'll go from there. I mean, without even knowing if it was going to be successful or whatever, but that was just the thought that we had. And then
Right.
as I was doing it, the last year of school, I was also doing Southwest Pavers the full year. That year, I saw the growth, the potential that I could have if we make this successful. I compared that to, I mean, it's not all about money, but it is, some of it's about money. Like how much money does a counselor make? How much does a professor in psychology make? Like it's capped.
Right.
You can only make so much money, and it's not a lot. And then I saw this other side of it, where I had the opportunity to spend a bunch of time with my dad, who was like my hero. And then being home, or being close to home, this potentially endless amount of growth if we're that successful. I saw a brighter, potentially clearer future sticking with Southwest Pavers and just putting everything we had into it. Because that year we grew so much that year, and I was in school, only working some days, going to school other days. So I just figured if I put all my time and effort into it, we can really make something interesting out of it. So I finished school, graduated, and then I was like, let's give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, I can always come back. Grades are still there. They were good. So I can still go to grad school if I want to in a couple of years. And I just kind of put it in the back there and focused on working. And slowly we hired more guys, bought another truck, bought more trailers, started the grind. And that's kind of what led to us being here now. At this point, I don't think I'll go back to school unless it would be for fun or something. It's still something I'm interested in, but at this point, my goal is to grow the company as much as I can. Nothing crazy. I wouldn't want to go overboard or anything, but just keep it where we're doing well financially, and we can think that we're proud of still, and just kind of keep that legacy going of my dad's vision of wanting to do well with the work that we're doing, and just doing good work. That's all.
That's awesome. I love that. So what year are you at right now? How long have you been in business right now?
It'll be 7 years in May.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So where do you see you guys in 7 years? As far as realistic, like what do you want to dream to be? What do you want to be doing in 7 years? What does the company look like now versus where you want it to be in 7 years?
Yeah, I still feel like we're in kind of a transitional period where we're still growing. We're still, buying more equipment. I might get another Bobcat in the next year or two. We're constantly looking at potentially adding new trucks, looking at whether we need another trailer or we need to hire another driver or whatever the situation is. We're still doing that. So in 7 years, hopefully the goal would be to be a well-oiled machine where everybody has a job and they execute it well. I would hope that we have good employees that do their job and do it with, not everybody has to be passionate about what they do, but they still do it with, I don't know how to put it, but to be proud of what they do. That everybody has their job, they execute it well, they're proud of it, they look forward to it, And just when all those things align, everything should be super smooth, and everybody does their job. I do my job, and it's not hopefully not as not super stressful or anything like that. Ideally, everybody has a job, everybody's doing well, and as a whole, the company should do well if we continue to do that. So that's just kind of my goal, just to have a well-oiled machine at all times.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I loved getting to learn a little bit about your company and the ins and outs, and learning about the pavers, the size, the thickness, and all that. A lot more than the average person would think about when they think about pavers, but there's a lot that goes into, the pavers themselves, the people that run the company, and everything on the day ins and day out. So thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, whoever's listening, if they want to just hit us up on social media or check out our website. I don't know if you're going to put it like in the description or whatever, but just
we'll throw it up in the description.
Yeah, it's just Southwest Pavers everywhere, and it's I'm not super active on social media. I might look into hiring somebody for that, because I'm just not that great at it, but we post some stuff, pictures, and sometimes stories and such about what we're doing. But that's it. Just search us if you need work done. We'll gladly give everybody quotes. We do free quotes, and we'll work with anybody and everybody that wants to work with us.
Awesome. That sounds good, man. And I know you have a ton of great pictures on your Facebook as well. So if you guys want to browse some stuff, you can check out all of their pictures. They have hundreds of pictures on there on Facebook that look phenomenal. Well, thank you so much, Jesus, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
The Landscape Cafe is a production of Pure Landscaping and the Niche Podcast Network. Learn more about Bailey, Katie, and the team by visiting purelandscaping.com. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, the best place to rate or follow the show is at thelandscapecafe.com. Thank you for listening in. Stay tuned for the next part in this conversation.